build your strength, climb every climb, trust the process, let the growth begin. In Coach's Corner, you'll always win. High energy, we lead the charge with every tool. You'll go large, behavioral assessments, team the next two. With Coach Houston, we'll see you through. Leadership that's real, not just theory on the shelf. Step into the corner and discover yourself. Champions are made in your next Coach's Corner, where leaders rise. With Coach Martin Houston, we're reaching for the skies. Empowerment's the name, empowering leaders every day, building better people. Watch us lead the way. From the locker room to the boardroom, we're taking charge. Coaching minds to greatness, we're setting the bar large. Championship mindset, it's how we train. In every challenge we rise, we remain. Emerging or experience, this is your time. Build your strength, climb every climb. Trust the process, let the growth begin. In Coach's Corner, you'll always win. High energy, we lead the charge with every tool. You'll go large, behavioral assessments, team the next two. With Coach Houston, we'll see you through. Leadership that's real, not just theory on the shelf. Step into the corner and discover yourself. Champions are made and you're next in line. Welcome to Coach's Corner, where leaders shine.
All right, good morning and welcome in to the program. I'm Coach Houston and so glad to be with you this morning. As you can see, this is going to be a powerful time of Coach's Corner. I'm Coach Houston, Martin Houston, Executive Director, Certified Coach with Maxwell Certified Leadership Team. We speak, we coach, we train, certified in several different aspects of training. And today we're going to be presenting a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. And that topic is the 7 plays of a champion. And to be a champion, it just takes more. This is a boot camp that I have presented this topic probably more than any specific topic. I modify it and dwarf it over time and based on the audience. But this is really my story of how I have been able to be successful in several different aspects of life, ranging from playing on the football field to the boardroom to the classroom and everywhere in between. How I've been able to deal with resilience and failure and all of those different things. It's all kind of encapsulated in this particular talk. So I'm glad that you've chosen to jump on with us. We'll take about an hour or so and move through this. We'll cover the 7 plays that make up a champion. This is a boot camp presented by Coach Houston. Glad you have chosen to be with us. The key objective is to equip you as individuals, emerging and or seasoned leaders and organizations with a mindset and strategy necessary to build a winning game plan for sustained success. A lot of times when you watch sports, there are programs and then there are teams. I don't want to help build just a championship team. I want to help build championship teams that are the foundation for championship programs. If I can give a great example, you've seen occasionally a team pop up like an Auburn University or, and I'm not being ugly with this, but Ohio State is a great program. But over the past few years, they've had a lot of great teams, but haven't been what they needed to be to get to that championship level. Alabama, on the other hand, was a championship program. And what I mean by that is there are teams that are going to be good, but they can't get to that level and get over the hump and sustain it. And these strategies, these plays that I'm going to teach you today are what the things that it takes to move to that level. So what will you learn? You're going to learn the 7 plays of a champion and how that develops a championship mindset. You're going to learn the power of consistent execution and perseverance. And you're going to learn the importance of intentionality, the importance of evaluation, and the importance of execution in your leadership and your performance. Why do I choose the term a championship mindset? A championship mindset emphasizes a few things that just a typical go-through routine mindset doesn't necessarily promote, and that's collaboration. If you have a championship mindset, collaboration is always a part of that mindset. And there's a difference between collaboration and teamwork, but teamwork is that next level. You can work together in one area or collaborate in one area, and then when it comes to the execution, the team pieces don't actually work together. So collaboration is more of the planning and the process of getting to a certain point. Teamwork is actually the work of execution. And always, a championship mindset always has a shared vision when you're talking about a team. The next thing is that there's alignment toward that winning game plan. In other words, it's not just a matter of whether you have a winning game plan or a great strategy. It's whether or not everybody in the organization is aligned with that, meaning each person knows their role, they know their responsibility, and they are moving in lockstep with each other. In this one, I really want to explain this a little bit. It says you can be a champion, but not be part of a championship culture. And sometimes people don't always understand what I mean when I say that. There are people who are champions, but they don't do a great job of building a championship culture, and therefore the organizations that they're part of don't always succeed and win the way you think they should. And let me explain what I mean by that. Someone can be a champion because of personal talent, drive, or momentary success. Yet they may not be a part of a championship culture because they don't necessarily submit themselves to the shared values. They may not necessarily have the daily behaviors that model what an organization is looking to have, and they may not buy into the collective standards. They just have great individual results, and they can therefore be perceived as a champion. They would be a champion because they've reached that high level, but the team isn't necessarily a championship team and doesn't necessarily have a championship culture, even though an individual, for instance, someone may win the Heisman, but the team may not reach its maximum potential. The champion versus championship culture, let me break that down just a little bit further. A champion or an individual wins through personal skills, grit, or brilliance. They can succeed in spite of the environment. In other words, there can be a toxic environment, but because of their individual ability, they succeed. Well, that's not what we're going for. We're wanting individuals to win, be champions, and as a result of them being champions, they raise the water level of the entire organization. They often are people who are driven by self-motivation, and they can often produce results without elevating the others around them. Champions can go it alone and win alone. A championship culture is not an individual thing, it's a collective thing. Wins are seen through alignment, through standards, through shared accountability. This collective mindset produces repeatable success. It develops more than just champions. And this is the most important thing. If your organization can get a championship culture, and then it can outlast any single person. Championship cultures win consistently. This is what I want to emphasize. And you may be saying, but Martin, you're going to be talking to me about a champion. What I'm talking to you today is about a champion who creates a championship culture and has a championship mindset. In other words, not just the person who wants to win by themselves, but a person who wants to win so that the team and the organization can rise to the next level. And as a result of these 7 plays of a champion, the organizations that they're associated with will become championship organizations. So we'll break that down a little bit more as we move along. Hopefully, if you have any questions or comments, you can throw those into the chat, just respond, and I'll pop them into the conversation. Let's just do a little icebreaker here. And after we do the icebreaker, we'll get into the conversation. Think about this, the whole starting point of where you want to go, or the importance of the starting point of where you want to go is so critical. If you start off on the wrong path, it's not going to be impossible, but it's going to be really hard to get on the right path. And these icebreaker questions around goal setting and things like that will help. Number one, all right, raise your hand if you have ever set a goal so big it scared you. Let that sink in for a second. Most people have never done that. So just raise your hand. We're waiting and see. Okay, I have done that before. So that is a challenge that I'm going to offer up to you here in just a few minutes. So raise your hand if you have ever been on a team where everyone wasn't on the same page. Oh, what a nightmare, right? When people pulling in different directions, that can be such a negative impact and a drain on you as an individual as well as on the team. Raise your hand if you believe that great teams always have a plan before stepping on the field. Raise my hand there. Absolutely. What about this? Raise your hand if you clearly knew if you clearly know what winning looks like in your role. The job that you have today, right now, raise your hand, wave it if you know what winning looks like in your role. This is such a critical moment. I mean, a critical piece of being the best version of yourself. So many people have jobs that they don't know what their role is. They don't know when they're being successful in their role, and they don't know what role or how their role plays into the big picture. So the next question is raise your hand if you've written down your goals this year. We're coming up at the time of this recording, we're coming up on the beginning of a new year, and a lot of people will have New Year's resolutions, but they don't write them down. So if you have New Year's resolutions, but you haven't written them down, or if you have goals that you want to accomplish, if you're listening to this at some point in the middle of the year or whatever, and you have goals, but you've not written them down, raise your hand. All right. Unfortunately, I'm the teacher, but I'm guilty of a couple of those things as well. And then the last question that I want to ask you is raise your hand if your daily actions match the goals you've either set for yourself or written down. A la, if you say, hey, I want to lose weight, but you've not got a gym membership, or you don't have a plan of action, or you're not taking actions of walking on a treadmill, walking in your neighborhood, walking in a gym, lifting weights, changing your eating habit, raise your hand. All right, how did you do? How did you do on that? It can sometimes be humbling when you ask those questions, because sometimes we say what we want more than we do what we want. And I'm going to teach you just a few things here about the importance of goal setting and how it can impact you and how difficult it really is. Let me tell you just a little bit about myself and my story to kind of help you understand how I got to the place where these 7 plays of a champion kind of tell my story. I grew up in a little small town, couple thousand people in the city itself. But I had always had a dream. And if you can see here, if you're looking at the slide, my dream was to play for the Dallas Cowboys. And the irony of it, I can remember the day that I had it. I was laying on my bed, my back on the bed, my feet up on the wall, and I said, one day I'm going to play for the Dallas Cowboys. The irony of that, Coach Tom Landry was the coach at that time. The irony of that was I actually had never played football at that time, but I wanted to. That became a dream, and that dream drove me. That dream caused me to do, say, act, be certain things that other people wouldn't do. I focused on my education. I focused on doing the right things, doing the right way. I worked on my skill and my craft when I began to play football. I focused on becoming a better football player. I idolized certain things, and I did the work. And John C. Maxwell, who I'm certified under his team, and he's one of the greatest leaders. I call him the Nick Saban of leadership. He says dreams don't work unless you do. So my challenge to you is, have you put in the work to accomplish your dreams? If you don't have a dream, today is the day that you get that dream. One little quote before we move into goal setting in the entire process is, adversity forged the mindset that I needed to win. In other words, what and who I am today in these 7 plays, it wasn't always easy. There was lots of steps of adversity that came along that helped to set the mindset that I have even to this day, and this still pays dividends in my life. And so often, if you're a leader, especially if you're a parent, but leaders in general, we sometimes try to eliminate adversity. We try to eliminate friction from the job. And friction and adversity is all part of the growth process and the growing process. Iron sharpens iron is one way to say it. Not all friction, not all adversity is bad if it's used as fuel versus being used as fodder and fighting. So I just wanted to highlight that before we got into it, that the journey that I've been on, I've been able to be extremely successful, having a couple SEC championships, a national championship, having been voted Pinnacle Award winner in my corporate world. It was voted as a gateway, high potential gateway leader at one of the corporations I work for. So what I'm saying is, these things work on the football field, they worked in the locker room, and they work in the boardroom, and they work in whatever your chosen field of play is. So let's keep it rolling. If you're just now joining us, this is the Coach's Corner. I'm Martin Houston, and this is the first time I've done this, and so I'm excited about being able to bring you more content like this. And this is one, like I said, one of my favorite topics. Probably my most presented topic. I've presented it so many times in so many different ways. The first play that I think you need to make sure you know how to execute is champion set BHAGs. And you may be saying, Martin, what's a BHAG? Coach Houston, what's a BHAG? BHAG stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goals. Big, hairy, audacious goals. Set a goal so big that the person that you are today can achieve it. In other words, let me read it the way the unknown person said it. Said, set a goal so big that you can achieve it until you grow into the person who can. So many times we set goals, say on a scale of 1 to 10, we'll set a 6 or 7 as our goal. And man, we'll hit it. But someone else will set their goal at 9 or 10 and not hit it, but they'll be at 8 or 9. And they're still better off than the person who hit their goal. So that's my challenge to you. I want to give you just a few stats on goal setting that is just it blows your mind. How many of you have ever been busy at the end of a day, and at the end of the day you couldn't really tell what you actually had done and what you had actually spent your time on, or what you intended to accomplish? You're like, what happened? Well, here's what happened. Research shows that 20% of people are set clear goals. Only 20%. So that means that 80% of us who even set goals don't make them clear. Okay. So I'm saying set a big, hairy, audacious goal, but make sure that that's a clear goal. Fewer than 10% actually ever go back and review their goals. That means that people aren't failing because they're lazy. They're failing because they're unfocused, or they haven't really set a proper goal. One study found that people who write down their goals, listen to this. This is the reason I said write it down. Write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. Not smarter, not more gifted, just clearer. Another study shows that specific goals can improve performance by up to 90% compared to just do your best. Think about that. Same people, same talent, same effort, different target. If you see activity feels productive, but clarity creates progress. Coach Stallings used to say to us, we had a big sign over the door, don't confuse activity with accomplishment. And if you don't have a clear goal, then it's hard to know whether the activity is actually accomplishing something or not. So championship teams don't just work harder. They know exactly what they're working harder towards. And that's what I want to encourage us to fully grasp is don't just set a goal, write it down. I had a boss that used to say, the weakest ink is stronger than the greatest thought. In other words, you can think you want to accomplish something, you can say you want to accomplish something, but if you write it down, the likelihood, and be specific about it, the likelihood of that happening goes way up. Okay. But don't make it a 6 out of 10. Make your goal a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. Or hey, maybe better yet, if you're already executing at a 8 or a 9, make your goal an 11 out of 12. Remember, set a goal that you have to grow in order for you to be able to accomplish it. I want to just give you one quick acronym: SMART. SMART goals, right? SMART, BHAG goals: specific, measurable, attainable, but it takes a stretch. Okay, make sure that you are not unrealistic in terms of your SMART goals. Make sure that you push yourself, but make it a stretch, something that you know you're going to have to grow, but at the same time, you know that it's achievable. Make it relevant. The R is relevant, and the T is put a time on it. So you want to have a SMART goal that's a BHAG goal, big, hairy, audacious goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So the challenge to you, or the call to action to you today, is define your BHAG. It may be, just to give you a little hint there or a little push, where do you want to be in 5 years? That may be what your goal is. All right. Play number 2 is a lot of people will do what I said today. A lot of people will take me up on the challenge I just issued. They're going to create a SMART BHAG, but they will not do number 2. This is where it falls off the rails. They say, some studies say 8% of the people who write their goals and make them specific and smart and measurable and all of those things, only 8% accomplish their goals. Wow, that's crazy. That's scary, but that's reality. And so if you're in that 8%, kudos to you. If you're in the 92%, that's where I come in as Coach Houston. I offer coaching services where I can coach you individually, help you put together a game plan based off of these principles that will help you be able to not only start the journey, but finish the journey stronger and with accomplishing your goal. Put in the work. You have to put in the work. The grind of putting in the work may go unnoticed, but the results won't. In other words, a lot of times things are happening when the lights are there's no bright lights, no one's watching. I love it when I like to use the analogy of football. Everybody shows up on Saturday. Everybody wants to win on Saturday. The fans are all there on Saturday, but the team who put the work in Sunday through Friday, that's the team that's going to win on Saturday. It's too late to say I want to win when Saturday and the lights go up and the kickoff is ready and the whistle blows. It's too late. You have to already have been working to make that goal a reality. So my challenge to you today is, if you have a goal, it may be a goal that you had when you were in high school. You need to go to that drawer, pull it out, go to that yearbook, or maybe it's a new goal that you set for yourself because you got a promotion or you've had a job change or a career change. Whatever it is, write it down now. Look at it and say, what's one area that I can do, or one thing I can do today that will make me a champion in this area? And here's a challenge if you're competing against someone. If you have someone out there that maybe you're up for a promotion and you're against someone, maybe your company has a product and you have a competitor who's come into your area. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to identify one area where you can outwork your competition and then focus on that one area for the next month. Okay, so that's your call to action. Play number 3 is champions build confidence through execution. Confidence through execution. I'm not talking about being arrogant. I'm talking about being confident, not being cocky, but being confident. Robert Kiyosaki, I think he says his name, Kiyosaki, says confidence comes from successful discipline and training. Successful discipline and training. In other words, it's one thing to be confident, but if you've not executed, that confidence is sitting on a very, very weak foundation. So execution, and I'm going to hit that a little bit more, but if you're going to be a champion, you have to be confident. Because there's going to be things that happen to break your confidence or to try to rob you of your confidence. And if you've not executed, it's going to be really easy for that confidence to be taken away. And you may say, how do I build that confidence? Well, perfect practice makes perfect. I hear a lot of people say practice makes perfect. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Perfect practice makes perfect. If you practice a thing the wrong way, or if you do something the wrong way, and then you go out to execute on that, and you've done it the wrong way 1,000 times, it doesn't make you any better. So it's about what you do, when you do it, and how you do it all the time. And if you can't figure out, if you're like, how do I get the execution before game time? You have to figure out, how do I get repetition? How do I repeat this process over and over and over? And I can't answer that for every organization, but if I sat down with you, we could talk about a game plan and figure out how to do that. And to give you a great example of that, this is a free course that I'm doing. This is my most presented topic. But in order to get better at presenting this topic in this format, I've delivered it so many times in person, but I've only delivered it once here. So even though I'm live, even though I'm doing this and presenting this, this is my practice. I am going to get better. I will do this same topic multiple times, and each time I will get better and better and better, because I'll go back and review. I'm getting ahead of myself. I will practice to get better at this. I will take the call to action to you is to do what I did. I said, I have to get better. If I want to continue to grow my company, I'm going to have to be able to multiply myself. And how can I do that? I can multiply myself by being available online, and I can present things online. I can develop a course. And then while I have produced that course, made it valuable, made it user-friendly, made it accessible, I can go off and be doing something else while this course sells itself. That's what I'm talking about in your job, in your responsibility. How can you get better? And remember, it's not just about doing it, it's about doing it with perfection. And I want to talk about that as well. Perfect practice makes perfect. So the call to action to you today is take an immediate action on something you've been hesitating to do. What is that one thing that you've been hesitant to do that if you were to do it right now, you would begin the process of becoming better at it? So play number 3, champions build confidence through execution. Play number 4 is champions persevere through challenges. This is one of my family's favorite sayings. This is what I tell my kids. This is what I would tell you. Keep blocking. Greatness awaits, but it waits for no one. Keep blocking. Of course, for those of you know I was a fullback at Alabama, and I had to block as my role and responsibility. But my role and responsibility was to block, but the reason I was blocking was to open the hole for someone else. And so that's why I tell you, if you will persevere through challenges, if you'll persevere through the obstacles that present themselves, there's going to be greatness waiting on the other side. It may not, when I say greatness, it doesn't mean that you're going to find $1 million on the other side. It means that the reward of the effort, the reward of the grind, the reward of the process will be on the other side waiting on you. And once you do that, you're going to have a building block that you can build on for the next opportunity. So many people get knocked down and they can't get back up. Perseverance isn't about perfection. And when I say practice, I just told you, practice makes perfect. Hey, listen, you're going to make mistakes as you're learning. You're going to make mistakes as you're growing. You're going to make mistakes as you're going. The question is, do those mistakes knock you down and keep you down? Great example. I share my story. I've had numerous failures and numerous opportunities to get back up. But my most recent one was when I lost my job as a chief growth officer with a financial institution. And I had to figure out what I was going to do next to rebound. Well, the reason I'm sitting here talking to you is because I said, you know what? I have been encouraging people, empowering people my entire life, but I've never done it for myself and as a place or a way to make a living. That's what I'm going to do. And so as a result of that, Empowerment, Leadership, and People Solutions was birthed. And now I empower better people, I empower stronger teams, and I empower championship cultures. And that's why I'm doing this right now, is because I got knocked on my butt. I mean, I lost a 6-figure income, went to work one day, and I was let go, part and parcel because they let the CEO, who had been extremely successful, they let him go. Within 20 minutes, I was let go. I had a choice. Do I keep blocking? Do I get back up? Do I live out what I have preached to others? Problems are going to come. Challenges are going to come. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to what happens to you. Vince Lombardi said, it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up. Do you have a resilient spirit? Resilience is not the ability to get up when you get knocked down. It's the ability to keep getting back up when you get knocked down. So play number 4 is champions persevere through challenges. Play number 5. Before I go any further, I forgot to tell you, at the end of this, you're going to have an opportunity for if you'll stick with it, you'll have an opportunity to scan a QR code. And when you scan that QR code, you're going to fill out some information. And then that information will help me get better. Speaking of practicing and getting better, that's what it will do for me. But as a result of that, you'll get this PowerPoint slideshow in your hands. So I meant to tell you that up front. So stay with it. If you have to go, I understand, but finish it out right now. And at the end, you'll get that feedback. I'll get some feedback and you'll get this slideshow. And number 5, building off of what we just talked about, champions persevere through challenges, or they face the obstacles they keep blocking. Play number 5 is champions relentlessly pursue perfection. I've talked about it. perfect practice makes perfect. But can we be perfect? Is perfect an option? I didn't say be perfect. I said pursue perfection. Remember at the beginning when I said, why set a goal for 6 and hit it when you could set a goal for 10 and make it a 9 and you're still better off? Because you pursued that perfection 1 out of 10. You pursued perfection. You came up at 9. Nick Saban and Vince Lombardi said it this way: perfection is not attainable. But if you chase perfection, you might just catch excellence. And that's what I want you to understand. That's what I want you to understand about a championship mindset. If you're a champion that's building a better team, that's building a better organization, that's building a championship culture, you understand that there are going to be times when people come up short. But if you set the goal where everybody can achieve the goal, you're probably not going to be the best version of yourself. I would much rather be working at an organization where they push me to be my best, push me to reach outside of myself, push me where if I'm going to accomplish it, I have to grow. I have to grow in order to accomplish that goal. I'm going to pursue perfection. And in my pursuit of perfection, I might just catch excellence. That's what Alabama did. That's why Nick Saban was so dominant. That's why Vince Lombardi was so dominant. That's what, if you look at John Wooden, that's what it does. If you look at the likes of Elon Musk, if you look at the likes of Jeff Bezos, if you look at the likes of Steve Jobs, all of those guys, whatever profession they were in, whether sports or business, they pushed to be better than everybody else. They thought outside of the box. If it was 1 to 10, I used to say this always, all the time. If the goal was 0 to 10, Nick Saban, in terms of, let me say it correctly. If following the rules was 0 to 10, everybody thought 10 represented cheating. No, 11 was cheating. 10.9 was still okay. Nick Saban would walk sometimes in that gray area to get the extra piece of what he was trying to accomplish. So that's what I want you to understand, is stretch yourself to get outside the edges and outside the boxes. If you have to, make the box grow that people have put you in so that you're not limited. And so my call to action for you today is, what's one area where you need to raise your standard and pursue perfection? What's one area in your life where you said, I need to be better. I need to be better. Well, one for me is I need to do a better job in my health. So y'all hold me accountable. I have got to get healthier. I have to lose weight. So I put it out there in front of everybody. When we go off the air, I'm going to go write it down. I'm going to be smart about it. I'm going to be specific about it. My family and I, we talked about it during the Christmas holidays, and we're going to have a contest, but I didn't write it down. I'm going to write it down, be specific, make it measurable, make it achievable, but make it a BHAG where I'm going to have to do some things different than what I've been doing. I'm going to have to grow if I'm going to achieve it. Make it relevant. Why does it matter? Well, the reason it matters for me, for instance, is the reason I want to lose weight is not just about my health, but I think it'll make me a better presenter and a better speaker, coach, and trainer. All right. And then the last one is I'm going to put a time limit on it. So you all hold me accountable to that. Maybe at some point I'll come back and do this video again and show you the before and the after. But what's that one area in your life? What's that one area in your life that you need to raise the bar, raise the standard, and begin to pursue perfection where you've been allowing it to slip? I challenge you to find it today. All right, play number 6. Champions continually evaluate and adjust. So often we get the plan, we implement it, we put it in place, and we think that means that we're done. No, you will not get it right the first time. If you get it right the first time, you probably got lucky and it's probably not repeatable. Marshall Goldsmith said, what got you here won't get you there. In other words, you have to continually evaluate, adjust. And every time you go to a new level in the spirit world, they say new level, new devils. In other words, every time you go up a little bit higher, there's a new fight. There's a different set of obstacles, different set of parameters, different competitors, different demand on your time and your energy and your effort. If you think that what you did at this point, wherever that point is in the past, is going to be enough to get you where you want to go in the future from where you are today, you're wrong. It's going to take more, and it may take less in some cases. You need to evaluate and then adjust. Winston Churchill said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. It's the courage to assess, evaluate, and adjust. Are you doing that? Are you one of those people that once you do something, you're like, okay, I've done it. You put the energy in up front to make it happen, and then you don't put the energy in to continually grow. That was one of Nick Saban's greatest assets. Nick Saban won 6 national championships at Alabama. 6. He has 7 counting the one at LSU. More than any coach in the history. He won 3 as a defensive-minded coach, and his defense led the way. He won 3 as an offensive-minded coach, where he had to actually bring people in who would lead his organization where he didn't want to go. One of those people was a guy named Lane Kiffin. Him and Lane didn't even necessarily get along, but he knew if he was going to continue to grow, he had to evaluate, okay, my defensive-based system will win games, but it won't win championships. I have got to transition to a more wide open based offensive side of the ball, and I have to get smaller, more athletic guys on the defensive side of the ball. He did both of those. And when he did both of them, he then went on to win 3 more championships on the other side. So my call to action for you today is, what adjustment in your life, in your work, in your career that you can make today to stay on course or to elevate to the next level? What's the adjustment that you need to make? All right, step number 7, champions execute the plan. Listen, I've done a lot of talking, giving you 6 goals, 6 plays. All of them work. I believe without a shadow of a doubt. They are all very, very effective. If you do them, you have a legitimate shot of reaching whatever that goal, that BHAG you set is. But the reality of it is this: a goal without a plan is just a wish list. And a plan without action, guys, is nothing more than a dream. I told you about my dream, but my dream had to be followed up by the work, the sacrifice, the execution, the perseverance, the resilience, the confidence building. All of those things had to go into it. Champions execute the plan. So don't just make a plan. Don't just make a goal. Work to make it happen. Execution is what it's all about. Execution. You can do everything right except for put rubber to the road, and you're going to be a failure. Nick Saban said, we're going to win or lose based on how we execute. We're never going to be satisfied with mediocrity. We want to be the best that we can be in everything that we do. Everything, not what everything we say, everything we do. And we want to be the best in college football. We are in pursuit, action word. We are in pursuit. We're doing something. We're in pursuit. We're executing on our vision of perfection. So my question and my challenge to you is this: what step or steps can you take today to move from planning to execution? Now, I know that we all have different personality types, and some of us have personality types. I'm a what they call an expressive, and an otter is the animal. And I sometimes would jump ahead before I make the proper plan. I know that about myself, so I'm trying to get better at that. You, on the other hand, may be a person that's a driver. You see the big vision. You know where you want to go. You can help others get there, but you don't necessarily get caught up in the details. Well, you need to make sure that you communicate to those who are putting the details in place, or your big vision is going to flop as well. Mine will flop because I will jump ahead before the vision is fully baked. I can see it, but I just jump ahead, right? Expressing. Then there's the amiable, and that person is called the driver, by the way. The one I just, they're dominant, they're a driver, they're the lion. Then the next personality, you may be sitting here listening, and you may be the amiable person, the Labrador Retriever, the competence person. I mean, the compliant person, that person who's like, yeah, but if we do this, what about this person? You're more thinking about the people versus the task and all of those things. And so sometimes it's hard for you to move forward because you're afraid of who's going to be hurt, who's going to be left behind, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the last person is the beaver, the analytical, that person that wants all the details before they can move. They need to know more. It doesn't matter which one of those you are. You all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. We all have strengths, and together we can really get a lot done. But if you're one of those who falls into that place where you're playing and not move, get people around you to take the step. If you're the person that wants to execute and move, but you don't do a good job of planning, bring people around to help you do that. Just know that whichever one of those you are, you're making those decisions and step forwards based on kind of task versus people. And I've talked to you a little bit about that. If you want to learn more about those personality types, I have a DISC workshop, the macro method of DISC, where I can teach you all the specifics of it, help you figure out the patterns, and be able to maximize yourself as well as your team if you want to learn more about that. But the main thing I want you to walk away with is you have to do something. Today, take steps to move from planning to execution. From planning to execution. Whatever that process is, follow that today. Listen, what I want you to do right now is I'm going to come back in just a moment and wrap things up. But what I want to do is give you a second right now, a few moments right now to actually scan the QR code. And as you scan that QR code, just give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. It's fairly short. You just go in and answer the questions. It asks you a few questions, and then you'll get this particular PowerPoint. And as you're doing that, I just talked for you a little bit. Man, it's so exciting to be taking that next step. So even though I'm sharing this with you, I'm also doing what I just talked to you about. And I know it works. I've used it so many times in so many areas of my life. And so I want to help you. I can help you, whether it be virtual coaching, in-person coaching, whatever it may be. I can help you get to that next level. If that's what you're looking for, I can help you get there. So what do you need to do? You need to well, I'm going to share that in just a moment. So take just a few seconds here, a few more moments here. I'm going to be quiet for about a minute and then let you. I'll do the wrap up and share a little bit more about how you can work with me with empowerment, leadership, and people solutions, whether it's as an individual or as a company. I can come in and help you with coaching and training and boot camps, etc. All right. If you haven't, just go ahead and finish that up. We're going to move on to the key takeaways and challenges. Listen, champions set big goals, put in the work, and execute with relentless tenacity. They refuse to take no for an answer. They push and they persevere. And success requires continuous evaluation. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What do I need to change? What do I need to grow? What do I need to add? What do I need to delete? All of those things are part of the evaluation process. And that perseverance, you're going to have challenges. It's not when you're going to run into an uphill battle or an obstacle. It's what are you going to do when that happens? And then ultimately, you have to execute. So, what's the next move for you? If you're listening to this and you said, hey, I struggle with the next move, first thing you need to do is define what the next move is. Then make a commitment to it. Not like these kids do today where they commit and then they change their mind and then they go into the portal, etc. Not that type of commitment. That commitment that says, come hell or high water, I'm in. I'm going to fight till the end. And then last but not least, execute. Execute. A lot easier said than done. Sometimes we need people to come alongside of us, and that's where I can help you. I can come alongside you and help you become the best version of yourself. So, final wrap up and thank you. Remember, the championship mindset is a lifestyle, not a moment. This is a process that you can follow. You can take these 7 steps and follow them, and it's rinse and repeat. It's rinse and repeat. You may be at step 3 and have to go back to step 1. You may be at step 6 and have to go back to 4. And it doesn't matter. And based on what the goal is and where you are, you can use this in different areas as a parent, as a team member, as an emerging leader, as a seasoned, experienced C-suite leader, an entrepreneur, nonprofit, pastor, whatever you fall, these things work. And remember this, everything rises and falls on relationships, investment, and connection, and all of those things. But everything rises on that relationship. And who are you connected with? Who are you investing in, and who's investing in you? And that matters. So if you don't have the right relationships that invest in you and that you're connected with, you'll never rise to reach your full potential. And I just read it out. Everything rises and falls on relationships. Invest, connect, and rise to your potential. The last call to action is, hey guys, let's build something special together. How can you do that? You can email me, martin@martinhouston.org. You can go to martinhouston.org/book me. You can request an impact discovery meeting. And that is just where we'll sit down and talk about, hey, where are you? What do you want to accomplish? What do you need to do? And how do you get there? So we have individual coaching services. We have group coaching services. We do boot camps, which is like a workshop, half day, full day, 2-day, etc. They're customized and built for your specific need. We also do lunch and learns, and all of these different services are available in person or virtual. So it's up to you how we do it. We also have some different assessments, whether it be an individual personality assessment, team assessment, communication assessments. And if you're an HR professional listening to this, we actually even have assessments that are called benchmarking to help you hire and retain the right people. So our specialty is helping people eliminate a toxic culture and become a championship culture. And so I would love the opportunity to do that. You've seen scrolling at the bottom, the upcoming Empowerment Leadership Empowerment Leadership Series, where we actually will be hosting Live to Lead January 27th and February 28th. So I encourage you, man, go to martinhouston.org and click the Live to Lead. It's going to be an unbelievable time. And if you will, on that here you can see really quick who some of the speakers are and who's going to be there for a part of this great day. I'm Martin Houston. This has been the Coach's Corner. I appreciate you, and we'll be back with you in the coming days and weeks. We'll continue to put up great content like this. If you have any questions, comments, etc., remember you can always be a part of what we're doing by giving us your thoughts, your comments, and your reactions. If you did not get a chance to complete it, go back and scan this QR code. Give me a little feedback and input. I'm trying to get better. Let me know what I can do to do just that. Once again, I'm Coach Houston, and with Empowerment, Leadership, and People Solutions. Remember, we're empowering better people, stronger teams, and a championship culture. Hope to see your face in the place on January 27th and February 28th for the Live to Lead Conference. One conference, 2 days, endless growth. That's Empowerment, Leadership, and People Solutions. Everybody have a great